Israel attacks Iranian state media buildings in Tehran, with staff reportedly killed as debris fall inside studio. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Okpayemuni. President Bola Tinubu will visit Benue State on Wednesday following the killing of more than 100 people by terrorists in the state. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nonuga, President Tinubu's scheduled visit to Kaduna State has been shifted to Thursday. President Tinubu's visit to Benue is part of efforts to assess the situation firsthand and engage with stakeholders on resolving the crisis. Ahead of the visit, he dispatched top government officials to Benue, including the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Inspector General of Police, the National Security Advisor, heads of intelligence agencies, and the chairman of the defense committees in the Senate and House of Representatives. A town hall meeting with stakeholders is also scheduled as part of the president's visit to the North Central State. President Tinubu has previously condemned the violence in Benue and urged residents and leaders to embrace peace and mutual understanding. He also extended condolences to the families of those affected by the crisis and pledged decisive measures to prevent further violence in the state.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to credit Eugenia Abu with the fact that we have a minute silence for the people, the victim of Benue. While I sympathize with the Benue people, I've spoken to the governor. The leadership and people of Benue should accept our condolences and tried hard, very, very consciously, to maintain peace, harmony among themselves. I've always said this, that we are one single huge family living in the same house, stay in different rooms, but living together in harmony will be the result of our diversity for prosperity. We should be able to manage our anger and frustrations. I sympathize with those who have lost their life. I will adjust my program and go see Benue people on Wednesday. But today is a great day of pride.
In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetogun, has met with the leaders of a Yelwata community in the Guma local government area of Benue State, following a deadly attack that left scores dead. A post on the official X account of the Nigerian Police Force on Monday revealed that Egbetogun, alongside the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, assessed the damage of the attack and engaged with the community leaders. Egbetogun ordered the immediate deployment of additional tactical teams to the region. The deployment comes amid mounting public outrage and calls for the federal government to declare a state of emergency in Benue following a two-day killing spree by suspected others. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says more than 100 people have been killed with 6,527 displaced following a series of coordinated attacks by gunmen in Benue State. On Saturday morning, gunmen launched a fresh attack on Yelwata, a community in Guma local government area of Benue, killing dozens of residents and leaving others severely injured. In a statement on Monday, NEMA said 2 soldiers and 1 officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps were killed in an ambush near Daudu while responding to a distress call. NEMA said the Benue Police Command confirmed that some of the assailants were also killed in a gun battle and that efforts were underway to restore order in the affected communities. The agency said 20 persons out of 46 people taken to hospital with varying degrees of injuries died while receiving treatment. The agency noted that relief efforts are ongoing for thousands of residents forced to flee their homes as a new internally displaced persons camp has been set up at the Makurdi International Market to provide temporary shelter. The recent attack, which sparked protests by youths in the state, brings the number of assaults on the town to 3 in 1 week. The attack has also received international attention, with Pope Leo offering prayers for Benue during Sunday Mass. Amid worsening insecurity in Benue State, a former Senate President, David Mark, has raised the alarm over the continuous killings in the state, warning that residents may be left with no option but to defend themselves if the government fails in its constitutional duty to protect lives and property. Senator Mark disclosed these in a statement issued by his media aide, Paul Mume, as he described the wave of attacks and killings across Benue communities as senseless, tragic, and unacceptable. He cautioned that the deteriorating security situation has reached a tipping point where citizens may soon resort to self-help to stay alive. The former Senate President lamented the sustained loss of lives and destruction of property in the state, reiterating that the foremost duty of any government is to ensure the safety and welfare of its citizens. Senator Mark called on the federal government to urgently fulfill its constitutional obligation to safeguard the lives and property of all Nigerians, stressing that citizens should never be left at the mercy of armed attackers. While acknowledging the pain and provocation the victims have endured, he urged residents to remain law-abiding and not to take the law into their hands, but rather continue to exhibit the values of resilience, peace, and communal support. Moving on, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly on Monday expressed divergent views on the advocacy for state police creation to address growing insecurity across the country. Egbetokun reiterated his earlier position that what the Nigeria Police Force needs to tackle the security challenges of the country was adequate funding. But the chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly, Debo Ogundoyin, called for a multi-layered policing model as obtained in other parts of the country. They spoke in Abuja on Monday at the Constitutional Review Legislative Dialogue on the National Security Architecture, organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Constitutional Review in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor. Here in Osun State, the Commissioner for Information, Kolapo Alimi, has alleged that aides to President Bola Tinubu have repeatedly misinformed the president. Speaking with Western Spring Television News, Alimi stated that although the president's aides had presented false reports, Governor Ademola Adeleke has since personally clarified the issue with President Tinubu. Commenting on the recent appeal court judgment, the commissioner criticized the stance of the Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, describing it as completely ridiculous. He assured that the ongoing local government controversy will be resolved soon. But while the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the opposition All Progressives Congress, APC, have continued to trade words over the implications of a fresh ruling by the Court of Appeal, accurate division on the controversial local government election conducted on October 15, 2022. This comes as President Bola Tinubu has reportedly waded into the leadership and judicial crisis rocking Osun local government with a view to immediately resolve the matter.
The wedding of the president, as we are hearing, is a good development because some of the aides of the president, they are not allowing the president to know the truth about the situation. What they told the president from reliable source was that it was Adeleke that sacked them. So it was when Governor Adeleke visited him, perhaps, that he related the true fact to him. And it's a good development because the president is the father of the nation. I can't preempt the president, but I know that at the end of the day, we will be vindicated. That is the truth. They will resume as soon as all this hula baloo is vacated. We don't know very soon. We are very sure that everything will be resolved very, very soon.
Okay, so what would be your reaction to the appeal court judgment?
The appeal court judgment, I don't know why in Nigeria we like to twist things. Somebody approached the court, he failed. Just listen to that. You are not a lawyer, but somebody approached the court for a relief. The court refused it, and the person is still saying he won. Just put it in your brain. Somebody who approached the court and he lost is still claiming he has won. How could that possible? It only shows because they have the federal might. I don't understand. No. We are waiting. We are waiting for the certified true copy of the judgment. We are going to write all the government parastatals, and then the appropriate action will be taken by the.
There is nothing invalidating the judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered on the 10th of February, and the state of the situation in Osun today is that all the elected APC chairmen and councillors are the legally recognized occupiers of the councils. What I know all these there are Ulabalu running around and forth in the next few days will be settled. By the time the interventory authorities decided they have recognized that this is the legal people there, when they release the funds accruing to them, definitely I know that the PDP will relax and they won't run around again. Deceiving the people. What the judgment said was that APC coming now for relisting of this appeal is like asking them now to review the judgment they have given on February 10, and there is no reason for it.
Elsewhere, the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday rejected the federal government's request to issue an arrest warrant against the suspended senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, following a failure to appear in court for arraignment in an alleged defamation suit. The presiding judge, Justice Mohammed Umar, delivered the ruling after the federal government's counsel, David Kaswe, informed the court that the charge had been served on a lawyer earlier that morning in the courtroom. Justice Umar stated that as the senator had not previously been served with a charge or a hearing notice, it was inconceivable for her to have appeared in court. The federal government's counsel, however, argued that Akpoti-Uduaghan should have been aware of her arraignment since a legal counsel had been served. The judge, in response, dismissed this argument, stating that serving the charge on a legal counsel was not sufficient to presume the senator's awareness of the arraignment. Following the court's ruling, the prosecution applied for substituted service of the charge through a counsel, Johnson Usman. The application was granted, and the court subsequently scheduled an arraignment for June 30. Staying with legal matters, Justice Alilu Yusuf of the Federal Capital Territory High Court today granted bail at 2 billion naira to a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Justice Yusuf granted the bail after Mr. Emefiele was arraigned on an 8-count charge in which he is accused of unlawfully acquiring a housing estate comprising 753 units, allegedly stealing and taking control of billions of naira in proxy accounts, among others. In the ruling, Justice Yusuf noted that Mr. Emefiele had been granted bail in 3 other criminal cases pending against him, and that there was no evidence that he had jumped bail. He then proceeded to admit him to bail on the condition that he must produce 2 sureties who must own property worth 2 billion naira in Asokoro, Maitama, and Wuse too, within the jurisdiction of a court. Justice Yusuf ordered Mr. Emefiele to submit his travel documents to the court and directed that he must perfect the bill by Wednesday, failing which it will be remanded in custody. Petroleum tanker drivers have taken to the streets to protest the 12,500 naira parking fee imposed on them by the Lagos State government through the electronic call-up systems company. The drivers were on Monday joined by other truckers to include lifters of petroleum products from the Dangote refinery, as well as transporters of cargoes from the Lekki deep sea port. Following the protest, cargoes were trapped at the Lekki port as owners of imported goods returned home, submitting to fate. Barely 24 hours earlier, truck drivers and fuel marketers in Lagos State said they would stop loading petroleum products from today, saying they could not afford to pay 12,500 naira per truck for the e-call-up system, especially on the Lekki-Ekpe corridor. In response, the Lagos State government said there was no going back on the implementation of the e-call-up system on Monday, accusing the unions of collecting up to 41,000 naira from drivers without any service. The national president of NATO, Yusuf Othman, explained that the truckers have temporarily suspended loading operations over the controversial fee. Prominent businessman Tunji Olubodi and his wife have received the chieftaincy titles of Asiwaju and Yasiwaju of Ara Kingdom in Osun State. The colorful ceremony also saw a special sword-turning ceremony for the Tunji Olubodi Productions Film Village and Resort Ara, which was conducted by the Ooni of Ife, Obadiah Ogunwusi. Here is the report.
It was a day of pomp and pageantry as the people of Ara Kingdom gathered as chieftaincy titles of Asiwaju and Yeye Asiwaju of Ara Kingdom were bestowed on prominent businessman and marketing communications guru Tunji Olubodi and his wife in recognition of their outstanding service and unwavering contributions. The glamorous ceremony, which was held at the proposed site of the Tunji Olubodi Productions Film Village and Resort, also saw a special sword-turning ceremony for the Film Village and Resort in Ara.
Alara ti ìlú Ara. Certificate of chieftaincy. This is to certify that Dr. Tunji Olubodi has been conferred with Ara honorary chieftaincy title of Asiwaju of Ara Kingdom.
The colorful installation ceremony was attended by a host of distinguished dignitaries, including the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, the Timi of Ede, Oba Moniruddin Lawal, and the Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs, Bashir Adeniyi, among many others. In his remarks, the Ooni of Ife, who prayed for the continued prosperity of Ara Town, commended the initiative of the newly installed chief and his family for their commitment to rural development. He emphasized that the Film Village project is a step toward building the local economy, as he urged stakeholders within the community to support such progressive efforts.
Film àti resort ibi tó ti máa gbé oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tí olóyìnbó ń pè ní movie industry, creative industry. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá mi pàtẹ́wọ́ fún wọn, ẹ bá mi pàtẹ́wọ́ fún wọn. Ọlọ́run yan aṣíwájú rere fún ìlú Ara. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa dára yẹn lọ ni. Wọ́n á dára láàárọ̀, wọ́n á dá lọ́sàn-án, wọ́n á dá lálẹ́, wọ́n á dá ní gbogbo ìgbà. Oríṣiríṣi àrà la fẹ́ ní ìlú Ara. Kábíyèsí náà ti sọ fún wa wípé oríṣiríṣi ilé-iṣẹ́ ńláńlá la fẹ́ ìlú Ara. Lágbára Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè á dẹ̀ ṣojú gbogbo wa o. Gbogbo òjòyè ìlú Ara bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe máa rí? Mo wá fẹ́ kẹ́ máa fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ kẹ́ máa gbàdúrà fún àwọn ògo ìlú. Gbọ́dọ̀ lé wọn sá. Ntọ́ba làwọn fẹ́ kẹ́ fún wọn. Kì í ṣe pé tọ́ba làwọn fẹ́ lẹ̀ báyìí kẹ́sùn ní baba ńlá baba mi ló ní ẹ jẹ́ kán fi ṣe nǹkan rere. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè á bá mi kẹ́ yín. Gbogbo àdáwọ́lé yín á yọrí sí rere. Ìlú Ara túbọ̀ máa ní ìlọsíwájú sí.
Speaking after his installation, Asiwaju Tunji Olubodi stated that the development of the film village in Ara was inspired by a desire to showcase Osun State's historic contribution to the Nigerian film industry while creating sustainable employment opportunities across the region. He stressed that the project is not only for the people of Ara, but for the entire Osun State.
It is a symbol of identity, a place where culture, creativity, and spirituality merge into something profoundly inspiring. From the Oshogbo Sacred Groove to the rhythmic chants of Bata drums, our state has been a fertile ground for artistic excellence and cultural pride. It is against this rich historical backdrop that we launched the Top Film Village and Resort. Theater opportunities and productions is what we call it in alternative. A world-class creative hub dedicated to the development of African storytelling and digital content. The Film Village is not just a project, it is a renaissance in motion. It is our commitment to preserve our heritage, creating sustainable jobs and empowering the next generation of filmmakers, musicians, writers, and content creators. Just to give us a glimpse of what Top Film Village will offer, we'll have purpose-built sound stages and studios that will rival global standards. We are looking at training academies for screenwriting, acting, directing, and production, affordable residencies and creative spaces to incubate talent, a production pipeline that connects local creativity with global platforms, and perhaps most importantly, a community of dreamers and doers who are committed to making African stories resonate across the world. To our traditional rulers, our natural rulers, and cultural custodians, we seek not just your blessings, but your continued guidance. You have preserved our heritage for centuries. With your wisdom, we will carry it into the digital age with honor and with pride. Ladies and gentlemen, as we turn these thoughts today, let it be remembered that a new cultural economy was born right here in Ara, in Osun, where it all began. Let it be said that this land once again took the lead in telling African stories to the world with dignity, purity, beauty, and power. Let the Tofin village rise, and with it, let Osun rise. Let Nigeria rise. Let Africa rise.
In a symbolic moment, the Ooni of Ife led a delegation to break ground at the site of the Tunji Olugbodi Productions Film Village and Resort, offering prayers and blessings to mark the beginning of construction on what is poised to be a landmark development.
Resort àti film village àbí film city Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè tó fi sí lọ́kàn tẹ́ ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ gbogbo tẹ́ máa fi ṣe ọ̀run á pèsè fún yín.
The film village is set to feature a training institute focused on various aspects of film production, including sound engineering, acting, script writing, and more. It will also serve as a dedicated set location for Nollywood and other African film projects.
You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, EFCC chairman raises concern over growing impact of internet fraud on Nigeria's international reputation and internal security. We'll bring you more on this when we return.